close your eyes and let the night wrap softly around you. The stars shimmer above like 1,000 ancestral lanterns, each one carrying the stories of people who shaped the land, who listened to the earth and survived by its rhythm. Welcome to Under Baobab Skies. Tonight we travel north to the wide, sun-baked plains and wetlands of Ovambo land, where the Ovambo people have lived for countless generations. Here, the land does not give its blessings freely. Its kindness must be earned with sweat. Its anger is felt quickly, in hunger, in thirst, in the silence of crops that fail. But here, too, lies beauty. Fields of millet shimmering gold under the late sun, sorghum stalks swaying like dancers welcoming the rain, the laughter of children pattering between ridges freshly planted, the soft, hushed hopes whispered into every seed placed in the ground. Let's pause for a moment. The fire crackles gently as the night breathes around us. The Ovambo way of farming is a delicate dance between risk and faith. Plant too soon, and the rains might not come, leaving the seedlings to curl into dust and disappear. Plant too late, and the floods arrive, washing away months of backbreaking labor. Every step, every decision must be timed with nature's pulse. The people know the earth intimately when it is grumpy and must not be disturbed, when it is thirsty and ready to receive life, and when it is rich and willing to cradle roots deep in its belly. Here, agriculture isn't merely work. It is a covenant between families and the land beneath their bare feet. But this covenant demands much. Let's pause again. The embers glow softly like tiny suns in the ash. The sun is harsh in the north. As the day rises, heat spreads quickly, clinging to skin, making breaths heavier, turning the soil into a stubborn shield. Yet with wooden hoes, with hands blistered and determined, the Ovambo farmers chip away at the earth, loosening it, softening it, until it finally sighs and surrenders, opening itself to accept the seeds of tomorrow. Because in these fields live more than just crops. They hold the future laughter of children, weddings not yet danced, ceremonies not yet sung, and restful nights not yet earned. Every single seed planted is a promise. Let's pause for a moment. Feel the wind shift in the tall grasses. Water pressures, unpredictable waters, the second master of this land. Seasonal floods turn the plains into vast shallow lakes called oceana. In those times, fish become the harvest, and canoes glide where crops once stood. But when the water withdraws, the earth cracks into parched, intricate patterns, and hope becomes something people must protect fiercely. The Ovambo learned long ago how to guide the water, how to catch it like a wild animal and convince it to stay just a little longer. They shape channels and dams with their hands. They build wells near marula trees. They watch the sky the way others watch clocks, because water does not follow a schedule. It listens only to the mood of the clouds. Let's pause. An owl calls softly in the distance. This story is not just about farming. It is about endurance. It is about community, how neighbors lean on each other like sorghum stalks sharing the burden of the wind. When the rains are good, the harvest is more than food. It is pride, celebration, and profound thanks. But when the rains are cruel, the land grows quiet in hunger. Emptiness creeps into cooking pots at night. Songs sound thin. Eyes search the horizon for relief that does not come. Still the Ovambo stay, because this land is not simply where they live. It is who they are. They are rooted here, like the millet they plant. They bend but do not break. They rise each season, hope carried once again in the hollow of their palms. Let's pause for a quiet breath. Feel the night settling deeper. Tonight, as we explore their hidden trials from planting under a burning sun to fighting pests and drought, to the joy of a shared harvest, we honor the strength of those who work quietly, without statues or history books, but with a courage that feeds entire nations. Their resilience is a quiet lesson in dignity and perseverance. So lie back. Let your thoughts drift like clouds over the Oceana waters. Let the warmth of the fire soften the world around you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story touched you, please consider liking and subscribing for more tales from under the African sky. You are now under baobab skies, and the story begins now. The first light of morning stretches slowly across the horizon. A thin mist rises from the grass, soon to be chased away by the heat. Planting season has begun. Children are shaken gently awake before the sky blushes pink. Mothers tie wraps around their waists. Fathers shoulder wooden hoes, their surfaces smoothed by generations of use. Grandmothers whisper short prayers into the ground before a single footstep disturbs its resting place. By the end of this journey, you'll understand how each seed is planted with hope, sweat, and the quiet wisdom of the Ovambo people. In this land, dawn is not just a peaceful greeting, it is a deadline. Once the sun rises fully, its heat presses down like a second earth on their backs. Let's pause for a moment. Breathe with the slow rhythm of daybreak. The ground is stubborn after long months of dryness. Each strike of the hoe is heavy. Each patch of soil must be broken open again and again, like a locked door that refuses to welcome guests. But the farmers speak to the land with action. They do not give up. Their bodies move in practiced harmony. Uproot, you break, you dig, you plant, you cover, you step. You do it again and again. Sweat gathers early. Muscles burn before the day has even started. But this is the only way life is ensured when the sun is both ruler and judge. Let's pause again and listen for the distant lowing of cattle in the morning air. The oldest farmers look not at the seed but at the sky. Clouds are their calendars. The wind is their messenger. Bird calls reveal news the earth has heard first. The first planting must come exactly when the land is ready, not before, not after. Too soon, and the rains will not come. Too late, and the fields will drown under sudden floods. Timing is survival. Children watch from the edges of the fields, learning not with words, but with eyes and with silence. The land is the teach adults, only translate its lessons. Let's pause and let our shoulders relax, like the soil finally giving way. Every handful of millet seeds is a promise held gently, a promise that hunger will not return, a promise that children will sleep with full bellies, a promise that ancestors will look proudly upon the harvest. Women move with grace across the furrows, dropping seeds as though feeding the earth herself. There is a rhythm to the work. Even when no songs are sung, the body remembers the music of survival. In some families, the first seeds planted belong to the ancestors. A tiny cluster is buried with care, a gift to those who walked before and whose footsteps still guide the living. Let's pause. The air warms, but the spirit stays cool. Mid-morning arrives. Shadows shorten. The sun begins its rule. Heat settles on their backs like fire made visible. Clothes cling to skin. Breath grows shallow. Lips crack and beg for water. But no one leaves the fields. Not yet. Not until the land has been given what it needs. Ravens circle overhead. The occasional jackal watches from a distance. The land is alivened, so is everything that watches. Let's pause briefly. Feel the heat in the air of this story. Hours pass. The work becomes a conversation between strength and exhaustion. Every swing of the hoe repeats the same message. We are still here. We will feed our children. We will not bow to hunger. Famine has visited this land before. It knows the family gates. It remembers the path. But the Ovambo build walls of perseverance against its walls, made not of stone, but of calloused hands and stubborn hope. When the first row is finally complete, a quiet satisfaction settles in the chest. Not pride, but relief. For these farmers know that effort is never a guaranteed reward. The earth repays kindness only in seasons of mercy. Let's pause once more. As the fire crackles, and night waits patiently for its return. Soon, children bring calabashes filled with sorghum porridge and sour milk. Not a feast, but a reminder that the body must be refueled to continue the fight for tomorrow. Laughter returns to the fields for a moment. Even in hardship, joy finds a small window to squeeze through, like sunlight between clouds. The day stretches onward. There will be many more mornings like this, many more battles with soil and sun, but for now, the seeds are in place. The land has been asked politely to consider blessing them. The farmers stand back, wipe sweat from their brows, and whisper a hope that roots will hear from deep below. Because beneath every field is a story that wants to grow. Let's take one last pause. Breathing slow, steady. The sun begins its descent. The fields shimmer with possibility. The night prepares its cool cloak to soothe the aching backs of those who worked faithfully. You have now seen the first step, the beginning of a harvest not yet earned. In the world of the Ovambo people, planting is more than just labor. It is a profound act of obedience to the ancestors who walked this land before, to the rhythm of the seasons, and to a wisdom far older than any living farmer. The days here begin before memory can truly form. Children grow into the cadence of tradition without ever being taught its name. They simply follow the footsteps in the dust, long after those who made them have faded from sight. Timing is the very heartbeat of survival. It dictates everything. Let's just pause here for a moment. Feel that warm breeze shift. It carries with it distant memories, echoes of harvests past. Before planting each new section of the field, the elders gather. They kneel, their knees pressing into the earth. They press the soil between their weathered fingers, studying its moisture, its warmth, its unique scent. The land itself tells them when it is ready, even if the sky seems to disagree. A cloud might hang overhead, promising rain that never comes. A passing wind might whisper lies of a coming storm. But the soil always knows the truth. There's an old tradition that says, plant too early and the ancestors will sigh. Plant too late and hunger will find your door. This isn't just a proverb, it's a law etched into the collective memory of the community. Let's pause again and listen. Can you hear it? The quiet, steady heartbeat of the earth. The planting rituals are small things, but they are powerful things. A pinch of ash is mixed with the precious seeds. A silent prayer is spoken into the sudden quiet that descends upon the field. A long, thoughtful glance is cast toward the horizon before the first row is even started. A line is drawn with a hoe, a simple gesture to greet the ancestral spirits who dwell below. During these moments, no one laughs. Even the children, usually full of boundless energy, still their whispers. The air becomes heavy, thick with the presence of invisible witnesses. As the first seeds are laid in the ground, the women begin to hum, soft melodies without lyrics, tunes carried down from their grandmothers and their grandmothers' grandmothers. The land listens. It has always listened. Let's just pause here, and let that spirit settle like dust after footsteps have passed. Each day during the planting season stretches long, feeling endless. It's not just because of the physical work, but because every single action must be correct, precise, and respectful. Millet and sorghum are stubborn crops. They don't give their life-sustaining grain easily. They demand absolute devotion. Withhold that devotion, and they will withhold their life in return. Some soils here crack like dry, mocking laughter under the sun. Others swallow the seeds too deep, burying them beyond hope. Some soils cling to the seed coats, as if trying to keep the grain for themselves. In response, the farmers bend lower, their muscles straining. They strike the hard ground with their hoes again and again. Hands blister, crack open, and bleed. Spines complain with every single sunrise, a chorus of aches and pains. But the fields offer no pity to those who tend them. The fields ask only one question, a question that hangs in the shimmering heat. How badly do you want to live? Let's pause once more and drink slow with the shadows as they shorten. The elders carry a burden that is far heavier than any hoe. It is the immense burden of memory. They remember the seasons when flash floods stole every single seed they had planted. They remember the years when drought lasted longer than hope itself. They remember the terrible times when raiders swept through, taking food from the mouths of starving children. They remember moments when the sun felt not like a source of life, but like a relentless punishment. So they plant not only for today, not only for the coming harvest, but to avoid repeating the painful mistakes of yesterday. When they speak, the fields transform into classrooms. Every patch of soil holds a different lesson. Every winding ant trail becomes part of the curriculum. Every subtle shift in the wind is like a teacher clearing their throat, about to impart wisdom. And the youth must learn. They must listen, not necessarily because they want to, but because their very survival demands it. Let's pause here and just feel the weight of that wisdom passed down through generations of calloused, caring hands. Sometimes disputes do arise. A younger farmer, full of modern ideas and impatience, might challenge tradition. He might look at the clouds and believe that rain will fall sooner than the elders predict, insisting that the seeds must go into the earth right now. The elder simply shakes his head, his gaze fixed on a silent, distant horizon. Rain, he'll say, lies more often than hearts do. Trust the soil, it remembers further than we can see. And then the community chooses, not through heated argument, but through a quiet, collective belief. When the first raindrops finally do fall, and the seeds don't drown beneath a sudden, unexpected flood, the lesson is remembered. Tradition has once again earned its authority. Let's pause together now, and listen to that deep, profound hush that comes just before the rainfall. Night returns, and the fields sleep under a blanket of starlight. The farmers gather around their cooking fires, the flames dancing and casting long shadows. Children curl up against their mothers' sides, safe and warm. The elders sit quietly, their eyes fixed on the flames, as if they are reading prophecies in the swirling smoke. Stories are told then, not for entertainment, but to remind everyone of a fundamental truth. Seeds planted without respect will not feed anyone. The moon rises higher, casting a silvery glow over the landscape. The cool night air soothes the day's aches. A familiar, warm silence surrounds them. They know the ancestors are watching closely, for this is the season that proves whether the living truly deserve the blessings they have so earnestly asked for. The farmers lie down on their mats under the vast, open sky, too tired to speak, but deeply grateful for another day, for the simple act of breathing. One more day is done. One more plea has been planted into the ground. And the land, patient as always, waits. It waits to decide whether it will answer their plea with abundance or with emptiness. As the sun rises again, Its golden light stretches across the Namibian plains, touching fields still moist from last night's gentle rain. Farmers are already stirring. Their backs ache from yesterday's planting. Their hands are stiff from the clay and stone, but their hearts are resolute. They know this land does not forgive laziness, but it also doesn't punish care. Every single day begins with a ritual, a whispered greeting to the spirits believed to reside beneath the soil, a symbolic sweep of the field to honor its readiness to receive the seeds, and a careful inspection of the seedlings' positions from the day before. The community moves together, a synchronized rhythm of bodies aware of each other's presence. No one works alone here. The labor is shared, mutual, and sacred. Let's just pause for a moment and listen. Hear the wind shifting through the tall millet stalks. It's as if the field itself is exhaling, either approving of their work or offering a gentle warning. It's always watchful. By mid-morning, the heat begins to climb steadily. Foreheads glisten with sweat, backs bend low over the earth, and muscles stretch like taut ropes. That sweat mingles with the soil, forging a sacred connection between the person and the earth they cultivate. Every movement here has a purpose. Every action carries weight. A single misstep can crush a tender sprout just beginning its journey. A moment's lapse in vigilance can allow pests to spread, threatening the entire crop. And a moment of despair can weaken the invisible, yet vital, link to ancestral favor that they believe watches over them. The children are here too, mimicking the elders. They carry small bundles of seed, learning without formal lectures how the soil speaks, how to listen to its needs. Their small hands imitate the practiced movements of their parents, hesitant at first, but determined. They understand, even at a young age, that one day they too will carry the profound responsibility of feeding their community. This sense of communal responsibility isn't an abstract idea. It's tangible. You can almost touch it. The karor, the negligence of one individual ripples across the entire village. A weak stalk in one family's patch might mean less food for them. A lapse in managing the irrigation could harm a neighbor's field downstream. Therefore, the act of planting is not just an act of agriculture. It is an act of trust, a promise made to one another. Let's pause again here. The sun is high now, the wind is gentle, and dust settles in slivers of gold. The hope that sustains these farmers is a quiet but persistent force. It's not boisterous. It doesn't shout for attention. It whispers in the sweat-slicked air, a constant refrain. Do not give up. The land will answer. And it does answer, often in ways that feel mysterious and miraculous. A sudden, unexpected rainfall that comes just in time to restore the parched soil. Seeds that germinate with surprising resilience, even in a patch that was neglected. A strong wind that scatters seeds into a surprisingly fertile patch of humus. Even the birds seem to play a part, sometimes dropping offerings near young seedlings. These are all seen as signs of unseen favor, reminders that their labor is not solitary. It exists in a deep partnership with nature and with the spirit world. The day grows long, and shadows begin to stretch thin across the vast landscape. Hands are now blistered, backs ache even more, and lips are dry from the heat, but their eyes remain sharp and alert. They know that to neglect the field, even for a moment, is to risk hunger, and not just for themselves, but for the entire village. It's a heavy burden, but it is a burden that is shared among many shoulders, which makes it bearable. As midday approaches, the elders call for a pause. This isn't just for rest. It's a time for reflection. Small fires smolder near the edges of the fields. A skin of cool water is passed from hand to hand, and stories murmur along with the wind. Here, in this brief respite, the hope of yesterday meets the effort of today. It's where the demanding nature of the earth collides with the generous spirit of the people, where the weary body finds strength in a willing heart. By the afternoon, the rhythm has settled into a steady, hypnotic pace. Row by row, seed by seed, breath by breath, the young ones are absorbing invaluable lessons of endurance and timing, learning when to push and when to wait. The old ones work alongside them, their movements infused with the memories of past failures and successes alike. A rich tapestry of experience, sweat, and quiet prayer weaves itself through the very air. It's then that a communal song often rises. It's subtle, low, a murmur that accompanies the sound of hoes meeting the soil. This isn't a song sung for joy alone, but for survival, for guidance, and for the courage to continue. The air hums with a focused energy, but a quiet hush of ancestral presence remains, reminding everyone that this labor is not for a fleeting day. It's for the continuity of life itself, for the next harvest, and for the next generation that will one day stand in their place. Evening descends slowly, painting the sky in vast, violet hues as the first stars begin to blink awake. With hands stained by the earth and backs still bent from the day's toil, the farmers survey their work. There is pride in their gaze, but it's a pride tempered by caution. They know the work is far from over. Tomorrow they will return, and the cycle will begin anew. Let's pause for the last time tonight, feel the land breathing under the stars, and sense the quiet communion of effort and anticipation that hangs in the cool night air. The night here is a companion, not a threat. The fires of the community flicker in the distance, signaling that the day's labor is concluded. Sleep will come soon, bringing with it the promise of tomorrow's continuation. The Ovambo farmers lie down to rest, some even beside the very fields they tended, their bodies aching, but their spirits steady. Their hearts are aligned with the ancient rhythmic pulse of the land. Here, in this timeless place, work and hope are not two separate things. They coexist, inseparable, enduring, and sacred. As dawn's first light spills across the Namibian plains, a new day of purpose begins for the Ovambo farmers. The seeds are sown, but the real work, the art of sustaining life, now takes center stage. Today, we delve into the heart of their agricultural genius, the management of water. Canals, meticulously carved in seasons past, snake through the landscape, acting as lifelines, guiding precious rain to the thirsty fields below. Earthen dams, built with generations of sweat and soil, are inspected with a careful eye. The farmers search for the slightest crack, the smallest leak, or the subtle signs of erosion that could spell disaster. This is a tradition of vigilance, a daily communion with the land. The techniques you see are ancient, yet they carry an astonishing precision, honed over countless generations. Every stone placed in a dam wall, every curve of a channel, is a calculated decision designed to maximize the flow of water while minimizing any loss to evaporation or seepage. It's a delicate dance with nature, a constant negotiation. If they give the fields too much water, the tender seeds will drown. If they give too little, they will wither under the unforgiving sun. Water management is a silent teacher, instilling lessons of patience, keen observation, and deep humility. Through this practice, farmers learn to read the subtle language of the clouds, to feel the moisture in the soil between their fingers, and to sense when the river whispers a promise of abundance or a warning of scarcity. Let's just pause for a moment and listen. Can you hear it? That gentle trickle of water moving through the narrow channels. It's more than just a sound. It's the song of life itself, echoing across these vast, arid plains, a melody of hope and survival. The work of maintaining these irrigation systems is meticulous. You'll see small groups of farmers moving methodically along the canals. They clear away debris carried by the wind, patch up cracks in the earthen walls with practiced hands, and ensure that the life-giving water reaches even the farthest corners of their fields. Their tools are simple buckets, handmade clay pipes, and sturdy wooden implements. But in their skilled hands, these humble objects become powerful instruments of survival, capable of turning a dry patch of earth into a field of nourishment. The elders, their eyes weathered by decades of sun and wisdom, are the keepers of this sacred knowledge. They guide the younger generations, passing down lessons learned through a lifetime of experience. To understand water, one might say, is to understand life itself. Neglect it, and it will vanish from your hands. Honor it, and it will sustain you and all who come after. This isn't just farming advice. It's a philosophy, a creed that binds the community to the land and to each other. You can see it in the way an elder points, showing a youth how to check the speed and clarity of the water's flow, ensuring the lessons are absorbed not just by the mind, but by the heart. If you observe the water closely, you begin to notice the subtle patterns it creates, a language all its own. The soil darkens and releases a rich, earthy scent in anticipation of rain. The edges of the canals curve gently, not by design, but by the patient instruction of erosion, which has taught the farmers where to reinforce and where to let nature have its way. Small pools along the channels act as mirrors, reflecting the vast sky, the sun, and the shifting clouds, a constant, beautiful reminder of the larger world that exists beyond the boundaries of their fields. The farmers work in a steady, comfortable rhythm, each gesture deliberate and filled with purpose. The scooping of mud, the redirecting of a current, the careful patting down of a repair of emotion is a seamless blend of hard labor and profound devotion. In this way, the act of managing water becomes more than a chore. It transforms into a moving meditation, a deep communion with the land, with the spirits of their ancestors, and with the promise of the future harvest. Let's pause again. Take a deep breath. The wind carries the faint, clean scent of wet earth, a fragrance filled with the promise of growth, a perfume that lingers in the air as a testament to their efforts. Of course, challenges are a constant companion in this environment. A sudden flash flood can threaten to overwhelm the delicate balance they've worked so hard to create, washing away soil and seeds. On the other hand, a creeping drought can silently test their foresight and the resilience of their systems. But the Ovambo people are nothing if not resilient. In the face of these threats, their canals are dug deeper, their dams are reinforced with more stone and earth, and their vigilance never, ever wanes. They meet nature's tests with unwavering resolve. Every single decision made during irrigation carries significant weight. A poorly maintained channel could doom an entire row of millet, leaving a family with less to harvest. A single blocked canal could starve a neighbor's fields, impacting the entire community. An untended dam, weakened over time, could collapse under the immense pressure of the season's first heavy rains, unleashing destruction. The consequences are immediate and real, which is why the responsibility is taken so seriously. These crucial lessons aren't passed down in textbooks or classrooms. They are learned through shared labor, shoulder to shoulder in the fields. Children watch their parents and elders, their small hands ready to assist, absorbing the subtle techniques almost by osmosis. They learn precisely where to dig to create the right gradient, how to line a new channel with clay to prevent seepage, and when to reinforce a dam before the rainy season begins. This practical knowledge is imbued with a sense of sacred duty, a responsibility to care for the resources that sustain them all. By mid-afternoon, the sun is high, casting long shadows across the fields. The work is grueling, physically demanding under the African heat. Yet, you can see an undercurrent of deep satisfaction in their movements. Water now courses freely where it is most needed. The channels hum with the quiet energy of life, and the vast fields of millet and sorghum are nourished and content. The Ovambo understand a fundamental truth: the survival of their crops, and by extension, the well-being of their entire community, depends entirely on these small, precise, and deliberate actions taken day after day. Let's pause one more time. Listen to the breeze as it moves softly through the millet stalks. The leaves rustle, a sound like a whispered chorus of gratitude for the cool, flowing water that has reached their roots. As evening approaches, the farmers survey their day's work with a sense of accomplishment. The water in the channels catches the waning light, shimmering like silver veins woven through the dark, fertile earth. The sweat of their labor is drying on their sun-warmed skin, but the satisfaction they feel is a quiet, enduring warmth that settles deep within. They have provided for their land, and in turn, it will provide for them. Water, in its beautiful, flowing simplicity, teaches so much more than just irrigation. It teaches patience, waiting for the rains to come and for the water to flow. It teaches attentiveness, noticing the smallest changes in the land and the sky. And it teaches a profound respect for the powerful forces of nature that are beyond human control. Every single drop that nourishes a seed carries with it the promise of life, of sustenance, and of the unbreakable bonds of community. The day closes not just with rest, but with ritual acknowledgement. You might see a small offering of grain left at the edge of a dam, or hear a whispered prayer to the ancestors, asking for their continued guidance and protection. The Ovambo understand that their relationship with water is sacred. Without this deep, spiritual connection, even the hardest physical labor cannot guarantee a bountiful harvest. It is a partnership built on respect and reverence. As the sky darkens to a deep indigo, the first stars emerge, their distant light mirrored faintly in the still pools of the irrigation system. The land itself seems to exhale, satisfied with the diligence and care of its custodians. The farmers return to their homes, their bodies tired but their hearts aligned with the ancient, life-giving rhythm of water and soil, ready to do it all again tomorrow. Ultimately, water management for the Ovambo is not merely a technical skill. It is poetic, it is spiritual, and it is absolutely indispensable. Through these daily rituals and unending labors, the Ovambo crop growers maintain a delicate balance, sustain life against the odds, and honor the invisible bonds that connect them to their land, their ancestors, and each other. As dawn stretches its golden fingers across the vast Ovambo plains, a new day begins, not with the sound of an alarm, but with the subtle language of the earth. The farmers rise once more, their senses attuned to the world around them. In this journey, we'll discover how their unwavering vigilance, brilliant ingenuity, and deep-rooted ancestral knowledge combine to protect every single sprouting grain from forces both seen and unseen. Pestilence is a constant, unwelcome companion here. Swarms of locusts, beetles, and grasshoppers can descend without a moment's notice, threatening to wipe out an entire season's harvest in a single, devastating day. And so, the farmers watch. They listen to the gentle rustle of the leaves, searching for any sound that's out of place. They note the tiniest movements, looking for patterns of damage or the sudden, worrying absence of familiar insects. Their strategies for defense are ancient, yet remarkably adaptable. Lines of ash are carefully drawn around the fields, a simple but effective barrier. The smoke from aromatic herbs, placed with precision, drifts through the crops, creating a fragrant shield that deters unwanted invaders while respecting the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Every measure taken is a conversation with nature, an act of protection, not one of domination. Look closer and you'll see small, intricate traps fashioned from reeds and clay. These are strategically placed to catch beetles before they can burrow into the heart of the crop. Even the children participate in these quiet rituals. They learn to observe the most minute details, to act with a patience that belies their years, and to understand the profound connection between cause and effect. A single stalk, overlooked and left to pests, becomes a powerful lesson in attentiveness for the next day. But the pests are only one part of the challenge. Drought is an equally relentless adversary, testing both the resilience of the soil and the spirit of the people. Under the unforgiving sun, the earth hardens and cracks, the fissures spreading like desperate veins across the fields. In response, the farmers dig shallow basins to capture any hint of moisture. They skillfully channel what little water remains and employ sophisticated crop rotation. Strategies that honor the natural limits of the land. Let's just pause for a moment. Listen. The wind whispers across the parched soil. It carries a hint of rain that has yet to come, a promise and a warning, beautifully intertwined. The Ovambo have truly mastered the art of contingency. They have an innate understanding of when to thin the crop, knowing that sacrificing a small portion can save the rest. They know when to draw upon communal reserves, a safety net woven from shared experience and mutual trust. Every single decision is weighed with immense consequence. For one misstep, one wrong judgment, could bring famine and hardship to the entire community. Here, observation is paramount. It's a skill honed over generations. Farmers study the clouds, noting their shapes, their colors, the speed at which they travel, looking for signs of rain or wind. They listen to the birds, whose sudden, eerie silence can signal an approaching threat long before it's visible. They watch the soil itself, noting the slightest shifts in moisture or the subtle, telltale signs of underground insect activity. The work itself is grueling, physically demanding, yet it carries a meditative quality. You can see it in the rhythmic motion of their hands as they move methodically through the fields, inspecting stalks, clearing away debris and tending to the protective barriers they've built. There's a flow to this labor, a steady pulse that seems to mirror both the heartbeat of the land and the quiet strength of the human spirit. Community knowledge is the invisible thread that guides every action. Elders recount vivid tales of past droughts, of devastating pest invasions, and of the miraculous recoveries that followed. These stories are not just history, they are living manuals of ingenuity. They inform current practices, a certain chant whispered to ward off locusts, a specific hidden herb known to discourage beetles, a sacred timing ritual for planting that aligns perfectly with the celestial cycles. Let's pause again. Feel that a gentle breeze sweeps across the fields, rustling the leaves in a symphony of subtle reassurance. It's as if the land itself is breathing a sigh of relief. Animals, too, are an ever-present threat to the harvest. Porcupines, hidden by the night, nibble on the tender roots. Monkeys, quick and clever, raid the emerging shoots in broad daylight. Birds swoop down to pluck the most tender grains just as they begin to ripen. In response, the farmers construct small enclosures and fences made of sharp thorns and sturdy reeds. Their vigilance is constant, a watchful presence from dawn until dusk. Yet, it's a vigilance executed with patience and a deep respect for all living things, because they understand that the land and its creatures are inextricably intertwined. It is during times of severe drought that their ingenuity shines brightest. Water, more precious than gold, is rationed with painstaking care. Old wells are dug deeper, and temporary reservoirs are created to capture every possible drop, buffering the community against the impending scarcity. Even the choice of which plots to irrigate first is not made lightly. It is a decision guided by a blend of ancestral wisdom, practical observation, and communal consensus. This relationship between the farmer and the land is sacred. Each pest they control, each drought they endure, is a profound lesson in humility and perseverance. The Ovambo people understand that they are stewards of their fields, not conquerors. Their labor is both physical and spiritual, blending sweat, observation, and ritual in equal, harmonious measure. As evening descends, casting long, dramatic shadows across the furrows, the farmers gather. It's a time to review the day's vigilance. Which plants have survived? Which pests have been successfully deterred? Which irrigation channels are holding water the best? It is a time for quiet reflection and deep, heartfelt gratitude, a moment to honor the incredible resilience of the land and a tireless persistence of their own hands. Listen, the cicadas begin their nightly hum. It's a gentle lullaby for the soil and the seeds nestled within it, a promise of rest and renewal. But protection does not end with human effort alone. As the day closes, the farmers invoke the guidance of their ancestors. They whisper quiet prayers for strength, for insight, and for resilience in the days to come. These are not idle words. They are an essential part of a holistic approach to life and to farming, weaving together meticulous observation, hard labor, and profound spiritual stewardship into a single, unified practice. Every day, every single action reinforces a sacred cycle, planting and protecting, observing and adapting, honoring both the ancestors who came before and the earth that sustains them now. Through this powerful cycle, the Ovambo crop growers cultivate not just millet and sorghum, but also the invaluable virtues of patience, wisdom, and unshakable community cohesion. As darkness finally falls, the fields grow quiet, yet they remain vigilant, protected by the layers of care laid down throughout the day. The farmers retire to their homes, knowing that tomorrow will demand renewed attention, renewed care, and renewed reverence. They sleep under a blanket of brilliant stars, with the steady pulse of the earth echoing in their hearts, confident that their efforts will guide the precious crops safely through another day. As the sun rises slowly over the vast Ovambo plains, it casts a warm, amber glow across the ripening fields. This is the moment a community has been waiting for. Farmers, families, and neighbors converge, their laughter and chatter weaving through the air like a gentle, joyful melody. This isn't just work. The harvest is a time of celebration, of reaping hard-won rewards, and of reinforcing the bonds that stretch across generations. The tools you see are simple but remarkably effective. Sturdy wooden hoes, beautifully woven baskets, and the irreplaceable strength of many hands working in perfect unison. Look closely, and you'll see the elders directing the rhythm of the work. Their voices are steady, guiding each movement with a wisdom honed by decades of seasonal cycles. You can feel the weight of tradition in every stroke of the hoe, every lifted bundle of grain, and every careful placement into the baskets. The work is methodical and precise. Millet stalks are cut close to the ground, and sorghum is gathered with practiced precision, ensuring that not a single precious seed is lost. Children, full of energy, run between the rows, carrying small bundles. They're not just playing. They are learning the ancient patterns of the harvest, developing dexterity and patience. Even the smallest task carries a profound lesson, that every single hand, no matter how small, contributes to the survival and prosperity of the entire community. Once gathered, storage becomes equally vital. The grains are meticulously sorted, dried under the warm sun, and then placed into thatched granaries. These granaries are ingeniously raised on stilts, a simple yet brilliant design to keep the harvest safe from moisture and vermin. This process is not merely practical. It is deeply ritualistic. You can almost hear the prayers whispered over the grains, asking for protection from misfortune, from flood, and from neglect. Let's just pause for a moment and take this in. The wind gently stirs the golden grains, and a powerful sense of shared accomplishment lingers in the cool morning air. It's a feeling of security, of a future provided for, earned together. As the hard work of gathering and storing subsides, festivals erupt to accompany the harvest. Music, dance, and song echo across the plains, a vibrant expression of praise for the land and its fertility. In some celebrations, masks and ceremonial attire are worn, reflecting both the presence of ancestors and the sheer joy of communal achievement. As evening falls, stories are recounted around crackling fires. Elders pass down the knowledge of previous harvests, the lessons learned from droughts and floods, and tales of the spirits that have guided them through it all. At the heart of this entire process is the principle of shared responsibility. Each family contributes labor, and each household shares in both the incredible bounty and the burdens of protection, drying, and storage. The elders play a crucial role here, monitoring the fairness of distribution, ensuring that no one hoards and, most importantly, that no one is left wanting. There is a sense of sacred trust, a deep understanding that the survival of one is inextricably intertwined with the survival of all. Protecting this communal wealth is a constant effort. Animals are carefully kept away from the newly stored grains. Watchful dogs, sturdy fences, and the vigilant eyes of the community ensure that the fruits of months of toil remain intact. Even the smallest breach is met with swift, communal action, reinforcing the importance of vigilance and each individual's role in safeguarding their collective future. Let's pause again. Twilight settles over the granaries, and the shadows stretch long across the land. The hum of cicadas rises, carrying the timeless rhythm of life and labor into the evening. Teaching and storytelling are woven into every aspect of the harvest. Children learn to sing the songs of the fields, to recite the seasonal rituals, and to recount the tales of ancestors who guided the hands of farmers long before them. Every chant, every gesture, every shared joke becomes a thread in the rich tapestry of community memory, ensuring that these traditions are not just remembered, but lived. As night deepens, evening feasts begin. Millet porridge, roasted sorghum, and other delicious foods are prepared communally and shared in gratitude for the earth's generosity and the tireless labor of the people. These meals are more than just sustenance. They are a powerful affirmation, a celebration of the fact that work, patience, and cooperation yield rewards that extend far beyond the individual, nourishing the entire community. Finally, the night is filled with reflection and well-earned rest. Farmers lie under a blanket of stars, listening to the wind sweep across the plains. They are keenly aware that the cycle will soon begin again with the next planting season. Yet, in these quiet moments, there is a profound sense of satisfaction. A harvest safeguarded, a community strengthened, and traditions gloriously renewed. Let's pause one last time. The night embraces the plains, carrying the collective heartbeat of the Ovambo people and the whisper of ancestors across the fields. It's a moment of peace and deep connection. Inside the granaries, the grains gleam like millions of golden promises. a testament to care, diligence, and shared responsibility. Each tiny kernel represents hours of labor, generations of knowledge, and the enduring spirit of a people perfectly attuned to the land. The harvest is never a solitary act. It is an act of connection to family, to community, to ancestors, and to the fertile earth that sustains them all. As darkness fully settles, songs of praise drift across the fields. Laughter, music, and soft conversation mingle with the natural sounds of the nocturnal plains. The Ovambo people know that safeguarding their harvest is a continuous act. It means tending the fields, sharing knowledge, honoring traditions, and, of course, celebrating together. The rhythm of the harvest will soon give way to the rhythm of planting once more. Yet the lessons learned will linger. Patience, attentiveness, communal effort, and a deep respect for the land are etched into the hearts of all who participate. The grain is not merely food, it is the physical embodiment of knowledge, tradition, and the sacred trust between a people and the earth. Through the toil, the celebration, and the shared labor, the Ovambo reaffirm what it means to be guardians of both the land and of each other. In every bundle of millet, in every single grain of sorghum, the spirit of the community endures. It is a living testament to the resilience, the unity, and the profound wisdom that define their existence. As dawn breaks, its soft, pale, gold light spills across the plains, illuminating the millet and sorghum that sway gently in the early breeze. Here, for the Ovambo farmer, vigilance is a constant companion. It doesn't end with planting or harvesting. It's a patient, watchful presence against the many threats that hunger for the earth's bounty. Among the oldest and most persistent of these dangers are the flocks and swarms that descend from the sky. Birds with keen eyes and swift wings, locusts that move like a devouring shadow, they bring a sudden, consuming hunger in their wake. Generations have passed down stories of nights when entire fields vanished by morning, leaving behind only silent soil and the heavy murmurs of despair. The elders speak of these events not just as natural misfortunes, but as powerful reminders. The land and its gifts are never entirely within our control. They teach that respect, ritual, and rhythm are as vital as physical labor in safeguarding the crops. And so, long before the sun fully crests the horizon, the farmers begin to prepare. Chants rise, at first low and vibrating deep within the chest. Drums echo, finding harmony with the footsteps that circle the fields, creating a boundary of both sound and intention. Children watch, their eyes wide, learning the ancient movements that trace invisible walls around the precious grains. Each strike of the drum, each syllable of the chant, is a bridge between the human and the unseen world, a plea for protection, a call for unity against the winged intruders. As the birds begin to stir in the waking light, the rhythm quickens. In the distance, a shimmering carpet of locusts glints in the sun, moving across the horizon. With practiced, steady hands, the farmers shake rattles, beat their drums louder, and stomp their feet on the earth. They create waves of sound, designed to confuse, repel, and drive the pests onward, away from the life-giving crops. Let's just pause for a moment here. Feel the air. It vibrates with intent. Even the wind seems to carry the purpose of this guardianship across the vast, open plains. While the work continues, stories of past infestations are retold. An elder might recall a season decades ago when a storm of locusts struck overnight, leaving nothing but bare stalks and the gnawing ache of hunger. By day, families would scavenge for anything that remained. By night, they would chant and dance, pleading with the ancestors for mercy. These tales are not just warnings, they are profound lessons in patience, endurance, and the sacred importance of preparation. The work is cyclical, a continuous dance of protection. As one section of the field is encircled with sound, another is watched over by keen, experienced eyes. The farmers recognize the subtle patterns in the flight of birds. They anticipate where a swarm of locusts might land and adjust their chants and rhythms accordingly. Even the wind is read its direction, speed, and warmth are all signs signaling the likelihood of an invasion. At times, small offerings are made at the edge of the fields. It might be a handful of grain or a whispered prayer to the spirits, a simple gesture acknowledging that this protection is a shared duty with forces beyond our sight. There is no arrogance in these moments. Even the strongest farmer bows to the rhythm of the world, understanding their place within it. Let's pause again. See how the shadows of the millet stretch long across the ground. The rustle of the leaves is a constant, gentle reminder of how fragile the balance of life truly is. The chants themselves are woven with history. Their words call upon ancestors who understood these plains intimately, who knew which birds were harmless and which swarms carried hunger. The songs describe the patterns of the clouds, the signs hidden in the stars, and the subtle hints in the air that foretell a pest migration. Through this powerful combination of sound, memory, and intention, the farmers stand as sentinels, watching over the fragile promise of sustenance. The children, too, are learning these sacred measures. You can see them running along the edges of the fields, clapping their hands, shouting, and imitating the adults. In their play, they are internalizing a rhythm and a knowledge that has been passed down for centuries. Even a misstep is a lesson. Even a missed beat becomes an opportunity to remember that vigilance is both a practical art and a solemn duty. Here, the physical and the spiritual overlap so profoundly. Every step, every call, every single drumbeat carries both practical and mystical significance. It is said that in these moments, the ancestors are listening, aligning themselves with the rhythm of their people. A swarm might be discouraged by the sound, a flock guided elsewhere by the collective will, and harmony is maintained between the earth and the sky. Even when the pests seem unstoppable, the rituals provide a sense of calm, a steadying presence. The farmers know that panic can spread faster than hunger itself, and that focused, shared intention can transform despair into hope. They chant, they drum, they move as one unified body, understanding that the life of the field is a direct mirror of the life of the community. Let's pause one last time. Just listen. Listen to the wind stirring the stalks, carrying with it the whispers of past seasons and the quiet, determined pulse of these guardians. As night falls, the vigilance does not end. Fires are lit along the borders of the fields, their flames dancing in the darkness. The chants continue, now in low, steady waves that ripple through the night air. Even in the darkness, the fields are alive with human presence, the shadows of protectors moving among the grains. This isn't merely about survival. It's an act of reverence, a sacred pact between people, land, and sky. By the time dawn rises again, the farmers walk the fields to assess the night's work. The insects may have shifted, the birds dispersed. What remains, the standing stalks of grains, a testament to their careful attention, their rituals, and their ancestral guidance. Even the smallest triumphs are celebrated quietly, a swath of millet spared, a portion of sorghum still intact. It's a powerful reminder that persistence is its own reward. Through these actions, knowledge is passed on almost silently. The youth learn the subtle signs of an impending invasion, the proper cadence of the chants, and the sacred responsibility of being a guardian. As the crops grow towards harvest, the lessons of vigilance, rhythm, and respect echo across the generations, forming an unbreakable bridge between labor and legacy. Finally, the field settles into a state of calm. The familiar sounds of nature reassert themselves. The birds chirp their morning songs, the locusts hum in the distance, and a gentle wind carries the rich, fertile scent of the earth. The farmers rest, but only briefly. They know their role as protectors continues as the day progresses. As the next potential threat looms, and as the great cycles of earth and sky turn ever onward, the stories of hunger with wings are never far from their minds, whispered from one generation to the next to remind them that survival is both a practical and a sacred act. Every chant, every drumbeat, and every careful movement preserves life, honors the ancestors, and affirms that the Ovambo people remain attentive, devoted stewards of the land and its precious, life-sustaining crops. As the Namibian sun climbs higher, relentless in its gaze, the Ovambo farmer moves with a patience born from generations of understanding. Here, under this vast, unforgiving sky, there is a reverence for water that is as old as the plains themselves. Every single drop is sacred, every stream a lifeline, every hidden spring a precious gift from the ancestors. Without water, the essential crops of millet and sorghum would wither and die. Without foresight, entire seasons could vanish like a wisp of morning mist. The elders teach a profound lesson. Water is not merely for quenching thirst or irrigating fields. It is the very blood of the land, the pulse that connects the community, their crops, and their cattle in a delicate, life-sustaining web. This precious resource must be sought with care, conserved with unwavering discipline, and shared with a deep sense of humility. This is not a lesson learned from a book, but through keen observation, collective memory, and a spiritual attention that has been passed down across countless generations. The techniques for managing this lifeblood vary according to the terrain. You'll see small dams meticulously dug near the fields, their walls reinforced with stone and packed earth, built to capture and hold every possible drop. Intricate canals snake across the landscape, channeling water from distant rivers. Their courses are planned with incredible precision to avoid wastage and ensure that every family receives an equitable share. The work is grueling, demanding, and exact. Yet it is often accompanied by songs and chant melodies that carry the wisdom of the ancestors and lighten the burden of labor. These chants are far from idle sounds. They are functional, serving to maintain a steady rhythm, to coordinate the collective effort of the community, and to invite blessings upon the water. They are a form of prayer, a way to harmonize human work with the spiritual world. When a drought stretches on for weeks, turning the land to dust, the elders hold special ceremonies. They invoke the rains, calling the attention of the spirits who are believed to dwell in the rivers, the wells, and the clouds above. Even in the harshest, most desperate conditions, the farmers find a quiet, unshakable dignity in this seamless blending of hard work and sacred ritual. Let's just pause for a moment. Feel that the breeze carries the faint, sweet scent of earth and moisture. A subtle but powerful reminder that life persists, that it finds a way, even under the relentless glare of the sun. During these prolonged dry spells, a different kind of knowledge becomes absolutely vital, the knowledge of signs, the specific color of distant hills on the horizon, the flight patterns and behavior of certain birds. The subtle change in the wind's directional of these can indicate hidden, undiscovered sources of water. Experienced farmers read these natural signs with the patience of those who know the land not just as a resource, but as a living entity. They guide their community toward sustenance, calmly and without panic. Their confidence rooted in a deep, intimate connection with their environment. The soil itself tells stories to those who know how to listen. Deep cracks and hardened earth reveal its thirst. while a slight, almost imperceptible dampness can suggest the presence of underground reservoirs. When the time comes to dig for this hidden water, the farmers proceed with immense care. They are mindful not to disturb the spirits they believe dwell beneath the earth. A misstep, a lack of respect, they believe, could anger these spirits and result in even greater scarcity. It's a delicate dance between physical effort and spiritual mindfulness. The small ponds that dot the landscape serve multiple, crucial purposes. They provide water for irrigation, for drinking, and for ritual cleansing. Each pond is maintained with meticulous care. Its edges are trimmed, and its water is filtered naturally through layers of sand and red, ensuring that it remains pure and safe for crops, cattle, and humans alike. But these ponds are more than just reservoirs. They are vital community gathering spaces. It is here, by the water's edge, that elders share their wisdom about surviving drought, the principles of conservation, and the sacred responsibilities of being a caretaker of the land. Let's pause again. Can you hear that? The soft gurgle of water flowing over rocks, blending with the sound of distant drumbeats. It's a rhythm that reminds everyone that even in scarcity, life has a pulse, a rhythm that sustains the soul. This intricate system of water management is not a solitary, practical task. It is a profound community endeavor. Each family contributes labor, shares knowledge, and coordinates the timing of their water usage. The canals and dams you see are not just feats of engineering. They are powerful symbols of cooperation, binding the people together in a pact of shared responsibility for their collective survival. When a new dam is successfully dug or a canal is extended, a small ceremony often marks the achievement. It's a moment to thank the spirits and the ancestors for their guidance and protection, reinforcing the bond between the community and the spiritual forces that govern their world. During times of extreme drought, resourcefulness becomes a daily necessity, woven into the fabric of life. You'll see large clay pots strategically placed to catch the precious morning dew. The paths of shadows are traced throughout the day to estimate water evaporation rates from open sources. Even agricultural practices are adapted, with crop rotation and spacing adjusted to maximize every drop of water absorbed by the soil. The Ovambo people have learned over centuries that survival in these arid plains demands both incredible physical endurance and a heightened spiritual awareness. This knowledge is not hoarded by the elders. It is passed on from the earliest age. Children learn how to measure water, how to observe the land for signs, and, most importantly, how to respect scarcity. They watch the elders dig, chant, and carefully pour water, internalizing the lessons that will one day guide them as adults. The act of preserving water becomes a rite of passage, a daily meditation in humility, patience, and foresight. It is how culture and survival become one and the same. Rain is never, ever guaranteed, and so every single drop is treated as sacred. The chants and ceremonies are not separate from the practical work. They accompany it, reminding everyone that human effort is deeply intertwined with the blessings of nature and the watchful attention of the ancestors. The dance of the sun, the wind, and the soil is constant and ever-changing. The Ovambo farmer moves with a rhythm that matches this dance, sometimes swift and urgent, sometimes slow and still, but always, always mindful. Let's pause one last time. Listen to that sound. The soft trickle of water over the dam's edge. In this landscape, that sound is both simple and profound. It is the sound of life, the sound of hope, the promise of another day. Through these time-honored practices, the community not only survives, but it thrives against the odds. The crops remain nourished, the people's spirits remain steady, and the essential lessons of water stewardship echo through the generations. The Ovambo farmer understands a fundamental truth. Mastery of water is not about domination. It is about partnership. It is a continuous dialogue with the land and its hidden, life-giving veins. Finally, as dusk begins to settle over the plains, casting long shadows, the water sources are inspected one last time. The hard work of the day is done, but the vigilance continues. Every channel, every pond, and every reservoir is checked to ensure it remains ready for the next sun, for the needs of the coming day. It is in this perfect balance of physical toil and sacred ritual that the people maintain the delicate web of life that binds them to each other, to their crops, and to the spirits of the plains. As the sun retreats beyond the horizon, painting the Namibian plains with hues of gold and amber, the Ovambo people gather. They come together near the remnants of their crops and what remains of their water sources. Here they have learned a profound lesson. Drought is not merely an enemy to be battled, but a teacher whose lessons are etched in patience, in keen observation, and most importantly, in the unbreakable bonds of community. The elders convene quietly, their faces etched with the deep lines of experience. They sit beneath the ancient baobab, its branches reaching out like protective arms. They speak of past seasons when the sky withheld its blessings, when millet and sorghum shriveled under the relentless sun. They recall times when ingenuity and solidarity were the only things that saved the community from despair. Every tale they tell carries vital instruction, which wild roots provide sustenance when the fields are bare, which hardy grains can endure the heat, and which ancient rituals might invite the rain to return once more. The youth listen, their faces upturned, absorbing every word, every gesture. Resilience, you see, is not something you are born with. It is cultivated, nurtured from a young age. Children observe and participate in the daily routines of survival. They learn to check the precious water reservoirs, understanding the value of every single drop. They assist in rotating crops to preserve the soil and take part in distributing food equitably among all families. Even in times of scarcity, especially in scarcity, the act of teaching ensures that this vital knowledge is never lost. Each family contributes what little it can, reinforcing the social fabric of the community while honoring the great cycles of the earth. The community also practices subtle rituals of drought endurance. Small, humble offerings are made at the wells, a quiet thank you to the earth for what it provides. Across the fields, the rhythmic pulse of drumming echoes, a gentle plea to appease the spirits of the land and water. These actions are not performed for show or spectacle. They are carried out with a quiet humility, a profound acknowledgement of forces that are beyond human comprehension, yet are felt intimately every single day. Let's pause for a moment. Feel the evening breeze as it begins to cool the warm earth. Listen to the faint rustle of dry leaves. In that sound, you can hear stories of perseverance, of continuity, of a life force that refuses to be extinguished. Hardship often brings companions. Pestilence frequently accompanies drought. Swarms of locusts, flocks of birds, and scurrying rodents exploit the weakness in the fields, threatening the fragile balance between having food and facing starvation. In response, Ovambo farmers employ a blend of practical and ritualistic methods. They build ingenious traps and physical barriers to protect their crops. They fashion scarecrows, silent guardians, watching over the precious millet. And as they work, they softly murmur incantations, ancient words passed down to ward off hungry wings and crawling threats. These practices are a beautiful fusion of careful observation, time-honored tradition, and a deep, abiding respect for nature's intricate cycles. The community meets frequently. They gather to discuss strategies, to share new discoveries, and to support those who are most at risk. No one is left to face the struggle alone. Those with special experience in finding underground water, in managing difficult soil, or in controlling pests act as guides for everyone else. This knowledge is considered communal property, not a private asset to be hoarded. The very act of sharing strengthens both the community and the crops they depend on. It's a powerful cycle of mutual support. Sometimes the drought is too severe for these methods alone. When the earth is cracked and the air is thick with dust, the elders turn their gaze to the skies. They become interpreters of nature's subtle language. They read the shifting formations of the clouds, the direction of the winds, and the unusual behavior of animals to anticipate the possibility of rainfall. When the signs are finally favorable, coordinated ceremonies are held. The entire community comes together, invoking the rain spirits with songs, dances, and offerings. It is a powerful act of aligning human intention with the great, overarching rhythms of the natural world. Even meals become lessons in survival and community. Families carefully ration their small portions, but they share freely with their neighbors, ensuring that no one succumbs to hunger alone. Every grain of millet eaten, every sip of water taken, becomes a potent reminder of their interconnectedness, their shared responsibility, and their mutual respect. It's in these simple, shared moments that the true strength of the community is revealed. Let's pause again. The fire crackles gently, casting a warm glow on the faces gathered around it. Night has blanketed the plains, and the quiet hum of cicadas blends with the whispered advice of the elders. It's a sound of peace, of knowledge being passed in the quiet dark. The wisdom of drought is preserved not only in action, but in story. Through captivating folk tales, wise proverbs, and haunting songs, children internalize the essential lessons of vigilance, patience, and empathy. They learn that true resilience is not about solitary strength or stubborn defiance. It's a delicate dance between the community, the land, and the unseen forces that govern all life. These stories shape their worldview, embedding the principles of survival deep within their cultural identity. Despite the exhaustion that settles in after long days of toil, the communal work continues. Irrigation channels, dug with so much effort, are reinforced. The harvested grains, each one precious, are stored strategically to protect them from moisture and pests. Livestock are moved to distant areas where some forage might still remain. Every effort is coordinated, every task synchronized. This ensures that the community survives as a unified, cohesive entity, rather than as fragmented, vulnerable individuals. This unity is both practical and spiritual, a strategy rooted in centuries of observation and adaptation to this challenging environment. As the night deepens and the stars shine with an intense clarity in the clear, dry air, the elders speak of hope. They remind everyone of the cyclical nature of the seasons. Drought, they say with unwavering conviction, is temporary. They teach that with patience, with preparation, and with unwavering respect for the land and its spirits, the rains will return. And with the rains will come the renewed prosperity of the fields, the health of the livestock, and the contentment of the spirits. These teachings don't foster despair. They cultivate endurance, confidence, and a profound sense of reverence for the world around them. The Ovambo people understand that resilience is a skill, one that has been honed and perfected over countless generations. It's not just about surviving the dry seasons. It's about preserving the culture, the ethics, and the communal bonds that define who they are. The lessons learned during times of hardship don't break them. They reinforce their identity and deepen their connection to the land that sustains them. Let's pause one last time. The hush of the night is deep now. The whisper of the wind through the sparse acacia trees seems to carry a timeless message. A quiet hum of ancestral approval for a people living in harmony with their world. Finally, it's crucial to understand that even in moments of profound scarcity, joy persists. Life is not merely a grim struggle. Festivals, songs, and laughter punctuate the hardship, reminding the people that life, in all its fullness, continues. Resilience is thus celebrated daily, in the shared work, in the telling of stories, and simply in the comfort of being together. Through this incredible synergy of human effort, ancestral guidance, and deep respect for the land, the Ovambo endure, and the plains, in turn, endure with them. As dawn stretches its golden fingers across the vast Ovambo plains, a quiet hum of activity begins to stir. The air is crisp, filled with the scent of fresh earth and morning dew, mingling with the faint, sweet smoke of early hearth fires. Today is not just another day in the fields. It's the day of the first harvest, a profound ritual that weaves together the people, the land, and the spirits in a delicate, ancient harmony. Near the fields of millet and sorghum, the elders convene. Their presence alone commands a quiet, respectful attention. In their hands, weathered by decades of sun and soil, they carry sacred tools. Small ritual knives, ceremonial stalks from seasons past, and vessels for libations. Every movement is deliberate, every gesture steeped in reverence and a deep understanding of the invisible threads that connect their community, their crops, and their ancestors. This is where the practical work of farming becomes a spiritual practice. By the end of this journey, you'll understand the sacred weight of the first harvest, how it provides not just sustenance, but social cohesion, ethical guidance, and spiritual balance for the entire community. The head elder steps forward. His voice, a gentle cadence that seems to roll across the fields like distant thunder, begins to rise. He invokes the spirits of fertility, the guardians of the soil. He calls upon the ancestors who have watched over this land since time immemorial, their wisdom echoing in the rustle of the stalks. Each syllable is carefully intoned, a prayer for protection from pests and drought, a plea for abundance, and a request for guidance. This ensures that the very first cut made in the field is an act of honor, respecting both the earth that gives life and the spirits that oversee it. Farmers and their families assemble in respectful lines, their faces lit by the soft morning sun. They wait patiently for their turn to participate in this sacred act. The children watch from the sidelines, their eyes wide, absorbing the powerful, unspoken lessons of fairness, patience, and gratitude. In this moment, no hand moves too quickly. No stalk is cut without permission. This is where labor, ethics, and spirituality converge, teaching the young the very essence of communal responsibility and the deep respect owed to the land that feeds them. The first stalks are cut slowly, deliberately. It's not a race, it's a prayer in motion. With each cut, a small offering is placed at the base of the plant, a handful of grains returned to the earth, a single drop of water to quench its thirst, a whispered word of acknowledgement to the spirits. These tiny, humble acts are believed to ensure that the rest of the harvest proceeds in harmony. They serve as a constant reminder to everyone present that the land is not a commodity to be exploited, but a living, breathing entity intertwined with their own existence. It's a partnership, a sacred pact between humanity and nature. As the work begins, the elders move gracefully among the workers. their watchful eyes ensuring fairness. They are the living custodians of tradition and equity. They make sure that no single family or individual takes more than their rightful share, that each person's contribution is seen and recognized, and that the first fruits of their collective labor benefit all. The ethics of distribution are not up for debate. They are sacred. This careful oversight during the first harvest establishes a foundation of trust and reinforces social cohesion, preventing the seeds of envy or conflict from ever taking root in the community's soil. Soft chants begin to rise from small groups of harvesters, their voices harmonizing with the natural sounds of the plains. The whisper of the wind, the rustle of the stalks, the rhythmic cadence of their songs mirrors the very pulse of the earth itself. A subtle, beautiful reminder that all of their activity flows from natural cycles far older than memory. Even as they bend to gather the first stalks, their practical movements are imbued with ceremony. The physical work of the harvest is transformed into a living prayer, a moving meditation of gratitude and respect. Let's just pause for a moment and listen. The wind whispers through the tall stalks of sorghum and millet. It's as if the fields themselves are listening, acknowledging the reverent hands that touch them, accepting the offerings with a gentle sigh. These offerings continue throughout the morning. Small vessels of water are poured at the corners of the fields, sanctifying the boundaries of their sacred workspace. Handfuls of grain are sprinkled toward the east, a gesture calling on the life-giving power of the morning sun. Songs of gratitude rise to the heavens, carrying their thanks on the morning breeze. These acts, though simple, are profoundly meaningful. They ensure that the abundance flowing from the fields is not just for physical sustenance, but for spiritual continuity. The elders teach that to disrespect these rites is to risk creating imbalance between community members, between humans and nature, and between the world of the living and the realm of the spirits. Each family takes its turn gathering the first precious stalks. The young learn to measure their share, not with scales or tools, but with an ingrained sense of care and fairness. Observing the elders' example, the lessons of equity taught here are quietly profound. Generosity and restraint are not abstract ideals discussed in theory. They are virtues woven directly into the fabric of daily life, practiced and perfected with every harvest. This hands-on education ensures that these core values are passed down seamlessly from one generation to the next. The ritual is never hurried. Time seems to stretch as prayers are repeated, as songs harmonize, and as the weight of shared responsibility settles comfortably on every participant. Through this deliberate patience, the Ovambo people ensure that the first yield is a true communal blessing. It serves as a powerful reminder that their survival and prosperity depend on cooperation, mutual respect, and adherence to the traditions that have sustained both the people and the land for centuries. As the first bundles of millet and sorghum are collected, the elders carefully assess the quality. They ensure that not a single stalk is wasted, that every grain is treated with the utmost care. Even in a year of abundance, they teach humility. The harvest is not framed as a triumph of human effort alone, but as a successful collaboration, a partnership with the soil, the sky, the sun, the rain, and the generations of ancestors who tilled this very land before them. It's a holistic view of success, where humanity is just one part of a much larger, interconnected system. Let's pause again. The sun climbs higher in the sky, casting long, elegant shadows across the plains. The murmur of the chants begins to fade, blending into the gentle, steady rhythm of the day's labor. Once gathered, the families bring their shares and place them in communal stores. This act, too, is deliberate and ceremonial. Even the storage of the grain is part of this sacred rhythm. No grain is hidden away or hoarded for personal gain. For the community understands a fundamental truth. It thrives only when equity is maintained, when all its members feel the unbreakable bond of shared labor and shared blessing. This collective storehouse is a physical manifestation of their trust in one another. In the final moments of the morning ritual, the offerings continue. The spirits are thanked one last time for their generosity and protection. The children are gently reminded of their place in the long lineage of farmers, their connection to the past, and their responsibility to the future. The elders nod quietly, their faces reflecting a deep satisfaction that the first cuts have honored the land and the people equally. Maintaining the sacred balance, this ritual, though centered on the harvesting of millet and sorghum, is about so much more than just agriculture. It is a living, breathing lesson in ethics, patience, spiritual awareness, and social responsibility. Every cut of the knife, every offering left on the soil, every carefully measured share carries the weight of generations. It embeds moral and practical wisdom directly into the hearts and minds of the young, shaping their character from an early age. As the morning sun fully rises, casting its warm, golden light over everything, the first harvest ritual concludes. The fields now hum with a new kind of energy, a blend of fulfilling labor and profound reverence. The families return to their daily lives, but they carry with them the lessons learned in the field: fairness, respect, and a deep acknowledgement of the forces that exist beyond the visible world. Through these ancient and beautiful practices, the Ovambo people cultivate not only their crops, but also their character, their communal resilience, and the continuity of their culture. As the sun dips toward the western horizon, it paints the vast Ovambo plains in breathtaking shades of gold and amber. A transformation is underway, where just hours ago there was the quiet, rhythmic labor of the fields. Now the air itself seems to hum with a new energy, a mix of anticipation, relief, and profound joy. The long, arduous months of toil, of sweat poured into the earth, of careful attention to the precious millet and sorghum, have all led to this single, sacred moment, the harvest festival. This is more than just a party. It's a celebration that weaves together the earth and the spirits, the living and the ancestors, in a beautiful, intricate tapestry of tradition. Listen, the drums begin their soft, steady heartbeat, a rhythm that seems to rise from the very soil. Footsteps begin to shuffle in time as young men and women, their faces glowing in the late afternoon light, form circles in the ceremonial space. Children, their eyes wide with wonder, peek out from behind bundles of freshly harvested grain. They are learning a vital lesson tonight, that joy can be a ritual just as sacred as labor. From the edge of the circle, the elders watch, their quiet presence a powerful anchor, their gentle nods of approval grounding the festivities in deep-rooted tradition and respect. Around the crackling central fire, a space is cleared. It's time for the stories. Elders, their voices raspy with age and wisdom, begin to recount the tales of their ancestors. They speak of those who first tilled this very soil, who learned the secrets of planting, of irrigation, of protecting the precious crops from pests and drought. Each story is a living thing, part memory, part lesson, a way to honor the past while providing a compass for the present. The younger generation listens with rapt attention, absorbing timeless wisdom about perseverance, deep respect for the land, and the unbreakable strength found in communal harmony. These are not just stories. They are the threads that bind the community together across generations. As the tales unfold, another scent begins to mingle with the wood smoke, wafting through the festival grounds. It's the thick, aromatic fragrance of brewing millet beer. In large clay pots, the traditional brew bubbles and froths. Women stir the mixture with practiced hands, adding special herbs and grains, their voices rising in soft, melodic chants. This is a prayer to ensure the spirits of the ancestors are present and satisfied. The process is so much more than just culinary. It is a ritual in itself, a sacred offering to both the ancestors who watch over them and the neighbors who stand beside them. It's a perfect blend of physical sustenance and spiritual connection. The fire crackles, and the cool night air carries this beautiful fragrance of fermenting grain and rich, fertile earth. And then the dancing begins. It starts tentatively, a few shy steps, a hesitant sway, but as the drums grow more insistent, so does the dancer's confidence. Soon, feet are beating a powerful, unified rhythm against the earth. Skirts and sashes become a blur of color, swaying and twirling in the firelight. Voices rise together in songs that have been sung for centuries. Each movement, each beat, each note is an expression of honor for the months of hard work and gratitude for the generosity of the land. Through the raw, beautiful energy of the dance, the community releases the weight of their toil and fully embraces the joy of survival and the blessing of abundance. Songs of thanks rise from the circle, their melodies echoing across the silent plains. The voices call out to the heavens, to the ancestors, asking for their continued protection and for blessings upon the seasons yet to come. The energy is electric. You can almost feel it, a shared heartbeat connecting every single person to the great, ancient cycles of rain, sun, and soil. Even those who worked silently in the fields, the quiet, steadfast laborers, now join in. Their hands are lifted, their voices united in a powerful chorus of gratitude. This is a moment of pure, uninhibited, collective joy. And with celebration comes sharing. The food that is brought forth is not hoarded or saved for later. Small, precious portions of the very first grains are roasted over the fire, sometimes mixed with sweet, wild honey or combined with the freshly brewed beer. The elders move through the crowd, making sure that every family, every child, every single participant receives a taste. This simple act reinforces one of the community's core values, equity and the importance of shared joy. Gratitude becomes tangible, a physical thing that can be passed from hand to hand, from mouth to mouth, until it settles warmly in the heart. The wind rustles through the stalks of millet in the nearby fields, almost as if the crops themselves are swaying in the dance, acknowledging this beautiful celebration held in their honor. Amidst the joyful chaos of movement and laughter, another, quieter form of teaching is taking place. Apprentices and children are gently guided, taught the proper ceremonial gestures. They learn the correct way to offer thanks to the spirits, the specific sequences of the traditional dances, the ancient rhythms of the songs, and the deep meaning behind each and every step. Through this immersive, hands-on experience, cultural knowledge is not just remembered, it is lived. It is passed on, ensuring that this vibrant festival will continue not as a relic of the past, but as a living, breathing tradition for generations to come. As the night deepens, the atmosphere of the festival begins to shift. The exuberant energy softens into a mood of quiet reflection. The fire is now the undisputed heart of the gathering, large and steady, its warm light illuminating faces etched with both profound joy and solemn respect. The stories resume, but now they are laced with contemplation. Elders recount past hardships, the devastating floods, the plagues of pests, the lean years of famine. But the focus is always on resilience, on how the community overcame these challenges together. Laughter still mingles with these serious tales. a reminder that survival is both a practical and a spiritual achievement, a testament to their enduring strength. Mugs of beer clink lightly in toasts. Small, fresh offerings are made once again to the ancestors, placed near the fire. The songs continue, but they are softer now, more like lullabies. The festival reveals its dual nature. It is both a reward for hard work and a profound lesson. A lesson that toil is meaningful, that community is what sustains you, and that the unseen hands of spirits and ancestors are always there to guide human effort. Above the plains, the stars emerge one by one, their brilliant light mirrored in the eyes of the people gathered below. The air itself seems to hum with a palpable sense of peace and completion. Slowly, the first night of the festival begins to wind down. Families retreat to their temporary shelters built near the ceremonial space, their hearts full and their spirits buoyed by the incredible energy of work completed and blessings received. The fire burns low, its embers glowing like sleepy eyes. It whispers of the continuity of cycles, teaching the young ones that every ending is also a new beginning. The harvest is in, but soon the planting will begin again. In these quiet moments of reflection, the true meaning of the harvest deepens. It's about so much more than just grain gathered from the fields. It represents a living, breathing connection between the past and the present, between labor and joy, between the human and the divine. Through these powerful rituals, the storytelling, the dance, the shared sustenance, the Ovambo people embed wisdom, patience, and gratitude into the very heartbeat of their community. The night stretches onward, filled with the sounds of quiet laughter, the faint, lingering rhythm of the drums, and whispered prayers to the ancestors. This celebration, though rooted firmly in the land and its yield, has become a rich tapestry of memory, ethics, and spiritual continuity. It is a harvest not only of grain, but of life itself. As dawn stretches gently over the Ovambo plains, the golden light touches not only the harvested fields, but also the granaries. These are repositories of sustenance, wisdom, and communal trust. Here, leadership reveals itself not through ceremony or grand spectacle, but through quiet, deliberate vigilance. Chiefs and headwomen move among the granaries, their eyes scanning the carefully stacked bundles of millet and sorghum. Every stalk, every ear is accounted for. Every decision they make weighs both the immediate needs of today and the distant uncertainties of tomorrow. Within these structures, crafted from reeds, mud, and timber, lie the fruits of months of backbreaking toil. The leader's task is more than just supervision. It is the stewardship of survival itself. The Ovambo people understand that a poorly guarded granary could mean hunger, disease, or the weakening of community cohesion. For them, every single grain is sacred, and every decision carries the immense weight of responsibility for their people. It's a profound connection between the harvest, the community, and the future. The rules that govern this system are spoken, not written down. They are passed on through ritualized guidance and clear, direct instruction. Chiefs remind families of the practices of equitable sharing. Each household receives its due, but the elders and the most vulnerable members come first. They teach through demonstration, subtly correcting mistakes and emphasizing the fairness that underpins their society. This constant reinforcement of ethical principles is what sustains communal harmony, ensuring no one is left behind and everyone feels part of the collective whole. You can think of the granary as a classroom of sorts. Young apprentices follow the elders' movements with intense focus, learning how to count, measure, and distribute the precious grain. They are taught a fundamental lesson: that authority is inseparable from accountability. Leadership is not a position of power, but a service to the community. Hoarding or favoritism is seen as a deep moral failure, something that undermines not just the social fabric but survival itself. Through repetition and observation, the next generation internalizes these lessons, ensuring the continuity of both practice and respect for generations to come. Let's just pause for a moment. Listen. The wind rustles gently across the granaries. It carries with it the faint, earthy scent of stored grain. It's a subtle reminder that these are not just storage units. They are living spaces, sensitive to care and attention, breathing with the life of the community. Security is a constant, though rarely dramatized, part of life here. Chiefs and headwomen are always inspecting for any signs of spoilage, pests, or structural weaknesses in the granaries. They call upon communal labor to reinforce the walls, repair the thatched roofs, and maintain the paths leading to them. This ensures both the physical and the spiritual integrity of their food source. The community understands that protecting the harvest is as much a spiritual duty as it is a practical one. It's an act that binds them together in a shared purpose. Planning for the unpredictable drought, flood, or pestilence forms another cornerstone of their leadership. Reserves are kept hidden, rotated, and carefully rationed. These decisions require a delicate balance. Leaders must weigh compassion with foresight, understanding when to release extra grain to a household in immediate need, and when to hold back for a future scarcity that might be just around the corner. An abundance today must not compromise the survival of tomorrow. This is a responsibility that rests heavily on their shoulders. Meetings are often held near the granaries in circular gatherings where elders share their insights. They recount past crises, remembering famines survived and seasons of plenty. They discuss potential threats on the horizon. These councils are a beautiful blend of experience and intuition, of memory and observation. They serve as a powerful reminder to the young that wisdom is something accumulated through attentiveness and active participation. Through these open dialogues, the community's resilience is strengthened from within, not dictated from above. Let's pause again. See how the shadows of the acacia trees stretch across the granaries. The air is filled with birdsong and the quiet hum of human activity. It's a reminder that this vigilance, this constant care, isn't an isolated act performed on special occasions. It's woven into the very fabric of daily life. Documentation here is oral and ritualistic. History isn't written in books. It's carried in songs. These songs recount the history of granaries past, naming the leaders who guarded them, chronicling the famines they survived, and celebrating the seasons of plenty. The melodies carry vital instructions embedded within the stories, ensuring that even when the elders are gone, their knowledge persists. Through repetition, chanting, and careful observation, the practices of allocation, storage, and protection are memorized and internalized by each new generation. Ultimately, trust is the invisible thread that binds this entire system together. Households rely on their leaders to enforce fairness, and leaders rely on the community to follow the rules. When a young woman or man steps forward to ask for extra supplies for their family, the decision is guided by a deep understanding of discretion and precedent. And when a family neglects their responsibilities, it's counsel and gentle correction, not punishment, that restore the balance. Authority here is exercised not through fear, but through demonstrated competence, integrity, and the sacred duty of stewardship. As the harvest season winds down, ceremonies are held to acknowledge both the labor that went into the harvest and the guardianship that has made the season a success. Small offerings are made at the thresholds of the granaries, gestures of thanks to the spirits who are believed to safeguard their food and their future. songs of gratitude intertwine with practical lessons, reinforcing the core belief that respect, hard work, and foresight are inseparable elements in sustaining life. Let's pause one last time. The plains stretch wide, golden and silent under the vast sky. They seem to carry the echoes of human diligence and the ancestral guidance that has flowed across this land for centuries. A young Have learns a profound lesson that leadership is not a privilege, but a responsibility. They understand that preservation ensures survival, and that ethical stewardship is what binds their community, their traditions, and the land itself together. Through their meticulous attention to the granaries, the Ovambo people embody timeless lessons of patience, accountability, and foresight. Their granaries are a bridge between the cycles of nature and the enduring spirit of their people. The day concludes with a sense of calm satisfaction. Families return to their homes, their hearts aligned with the rhythm of the plains. They are confident that the work of the elders, the vigilance at the granaries, and the lessons passed down have safeguarded both their sustenance and their culture. In this quiet, measured way, the community maintains its continuity, honoring the ancestors, nurturing the young, and embracing the unpredictable cycles of life with wisdom and grace. As our journey across the Namibian plains draws to a close, a sense of quiet settles over the land. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long, soft shadows over the fields, the homesteads, and the all-important granaries. This is a time for reflection, a moment to appreciate the unseen hands, the watchful eyes, and the enduring hearts that sustain life in these sun-baked expanses. We've spent our days alongside the Ovambo people, witnessing a life deeply connected to the earth. We've seen farmers tilling the soil, their movements a patient rhythm passed down through generations. We've watched leaders guide their communities, not with loud commands, but with the quiet wisdom of managing the communal granaries, ensuring fairness and foresight. Every seed planted, every grain stored, is a testament to a resilience that is not boastful, but steady, unyielding, and deeply rooted in tradition. The Ovambo teach a profound lesson. True strength is often found in subtlety. It's in the silent diligence of guarding the harvest from pests and decay, the ethical weight given to every decision, and the shared understanding that the land and its bounty are a communal treasure, not an individual prize. Their world is built on a foundation of respect for the soil that feeds them, the skies that bring the rain, the spirits of ancestors who guide them, and for one another. When the sun scorches the earth, or the rains threaten to wash away a season's hard work, the Ovambo people bend like reeds in the wind. They are flexible, adaptable, but they do not break. Take a moment and just imagine. The night air is filled with the earthy fragrance of stored millet and sorghum. A gentle rustle from the granary roofs whispers of security and a community resting peacefully under the vast, starry sky. Throughout our time here, we've witnessed the herders' unwavering vigilance, the incredible patience required to track cattle across seemingly endless plains, and the skill needed to protect their flocks. We've seen the growers' daily rituals, their hands hardened by sun and soil, speaking a language of hope, survival, and profound responsibility. And we've shared in their festivals, where laughter and the rhythm of drums mingle with the crackle of fire, celebrating both abundance and the perseverance it took to achieve it. The granaries stand as silent sentinels to all this labor. They are more than just storage. They are repositories of sustenance, memory, and trust. Within their walls rests the accumulated knowledge of generations. How to measure, how to ration, how to protect, and how to distribute. They hold the wisdom to foresee scarcity and the ethical framework to ensure fairness. In protecting these humble structures, The Ovambo preserve the integrity of both their present and their future. Here, leadership is not a title. It's a daily practice. It's a delicate balance of vigilance, compassion, and wisdom. The heads of households and community elders lead by example, teaching the young that authority is inseparable from accountability. By tending the land, supervising the harvest, and overseeing the storage of grain, they shape not only the physical survival of their community, but also the moral fabric that binds them together. Every careful decision, every lesson patiently passed to the next generation, is another thread woven into this beautiful tapestry of resilience. The Ovambo way of life is a continuous dialogue with nature, with their ancestors, and with one another. Their rhythm is slow, deliberate, and full of intention. They know when to plant, when to water, when to rest, and when to celebrate. Even the smallest actor, single grain, carefully placed in the granary, a path cleared for the cattle, a drumbeat summoning the communities imbued with purpose and meaning. It is through this steady, mindful attention that they maintain a delicate balance, turning the unpredictable cycles of weather and fate into patterns that nurture life. As the first stars appear, mirroring the scattered fires of the homesteads below, a profound serenity descends. It's a peace born from generations of labor, foresight, and shared responsibility. The community rests, confident that the work of the day is done, and the wisdom of the elders will guide them through the night. Tonight, the granaries are full. The fields, dormant in the cool night air, hold the promise of continuity. The Ovambo have bent under the sun, fought against drought, and celebrated in rhythm with the earth. Yet they have not broken. This quiet strength, this cumulative power of discipline and care, reverberates across the plains and into the hearts of all who have the privilege to witness it. As you prepare for your own rest tonight, let the story of the Ovambo be a gentle reminder. A reminder that strength is often quiet, that resilience is woven from threads of patience, and that survival is a collective song. The unseen hands that care for the land, the herds, and the grain teach us that our world too can be nurtured with respect and mindfulness. May your rest be as calm as these plains sleeping beneath a blanket of stars. Just as the granaries stand full, may your mind find ease, knowing that these cycles of effort, vigilance, and celebration continue, nurturing both the land and the human spirit. Sleep comes easier, gentle, and deep, knowing that in these distant plains, life is tended with care, justice, and the quiet power of accumulated wisdom. The Ovambo bend, but they do not break. The granaries endure, and the community thrives. The land breathes, the people rest, and all is as it should be under the vast African sky. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from around our incredible world. You are under Baobab skies.